Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about vintage lenses, why you should be using them on your DSLR and your digital cameras. Let's get into it. So today guys, we're out in beautiful Greens Bush, which is just around the corner from my lovely girlfriend's house who's helping me film right now. You guys clicked on this video because you're interested in vintage glass. Now I've been someone that's been using vintage lenses on my digital cameras for quite a while now. So before I talk to you guys about why you should have these in your camera bag, let's have a look at some of the footage and some of the images that you can get through these lenses. The next little segment that you see will mostly be shot on this Helios 44-2, which is a 58mm f2. And we'll have a look at the footage and then we'll talk about why you should be putting these in your camera bag. All right guys, so reason number one you're gonna love having vintage lenses in your camera bag is the character. As you saw from that little segment there, you just get the most beautiful blooming of your highlights that you just don't get in modern lenses. I have to say that's probably the only downside to modern lenses that you can find. I know a lot of YouTube channels talk about like pixel peeping and sharpness and all that, but realistically they've all got the same character, and that's just to be sharp and good autofocus. We don't have the autofocus in this, which is a little bit of a downside, but as you can see, the character in them is absolutely amazing, especially when you're looking into the sun. Just the flaring that you get and the blooming of the highlights and how much just depth there is to the image just straight off without doing anything. Usually if you're shooting shots like that, you'd have to do a whole lot of After Effects, whole lot of layers, whole lot of, extra added on things just to get that. Whereas with this, it just really, really blooms out. One thing that you will notice in some of the images is that the bokeh is absolutely incredible. With this Helios 44-2, I noticed that shooting in the lens flares are absolutely incredible. I think with some of the shots, you would have seen a nice halo around a third of the image, which I absolutely love, especially if you're shooting portraits. It's an amazing effect to give. And I've got another 28mm, which is more for my landscapey sort of stuff, which has a really, really beautiful bokeh, especially around the edges of the image. Rather than just being circles, they're sort of twisted ovals, and it gets this really crazy sort of warp effect where it just sort of draws you into the image. That's just one of the benefits of shooting with vintage lenses, is that you do get so much character out of them, and more than you'll get out of any modern lens. So let's shoot a little bit more, guys, and then we will talk about the second advantage of these. What's going to be your favorite thing about vintage lenses is how cheap they are. I think I picked this one up, including the adapter, for less than $100 US. An f2, it's got a 58mm, as you saw with our little footage with that little, our spider friend back there. It looks phenomenal. For me, I don't think you can get a better image in terms of like character and effects out of a lens anywhere for that sort of price. For me, these lenses are absolutely fantastic. They just look amazing. And for that sort of price, you can't really complain. And what I love about that is, if you are someone who's doing just passion projects and you don't really need the sharpest images of all time. So for me, they're really, really great additions. Quite often when we're going to buy gear, I really want this piece of gear, but it's, $1,000, $1,500, $2,000. And this one, you can be a really solid addition to your kit for just under $100. It's pretty incredible. Obviously they vary depending on how rare the lens was, or what kind of condition it's in, but this one was in pretty mint condition and it hasn't failed me so far. So that is probably going to be your second favorite thing about these lenses, just how cheap they are. So let's go for a bit more of a walk, guys, a bit more of an explore, and then we'll talk about the downsides of vintage lenses, because there are one or two. All right guys, so what are the downsides? The big thing is for me is there is no autofocus. I find sometimes with how soft the lenses can be, it can be a little bit hard to spot where your focus is. So an autofocus mechanism would be amazing. If you're not shooting on a monitor especially, it's hard. I do have the Atomos Ninja 5, so it's not the biggest deal for me, but I find if I'm just shooting on the Sony screen, it can be a little bit tricky to see where the focus is. Most of the time it's pretty good, but I have had a few occasions where I find that I bring it back into the post, into my computer, and then I've just missed focus. Again, they are a softer lens, so if you wanted a really sharp look, you can't really achieve it. Because it has so much characteristic, it can't lend itself to every sort of situation. Like if I was doing a lot of food photography that you guys have seen me do, I wouldn't really use this. It's really just for me, for storytelling and for people. So for commercial purposes, it might not be the best lens. But by all means, if you're a videographer or a photographer that just does it for you, you're just a passionist, go for it. You will not regret purchasing these lenses. That's pretty much it for me, guys. Best thing about it, character and price. And the downfall is there's no autofocus. We're losing the light a little bit, so I'm gonna fire the drone up, and then that's it from me, guys. So I really hope you enjoyed it, enjoyed the snaps that I got. I don't think there was too many, I was mainly focusing on video, but enjoy the snaps, enjoy the footage, and I'm out. I'll catch you in the next one. And if you did get this far, please don't forget to subscribe. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. If you've got a vintage lens, I'd love to know what you're shooting on. If you've got something different to me, I'd love to see it, and let me know what you're shooting with it, what you shoot, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.